My fiancé told me, my parents don't think you're right for me, they believe I could find someone better. I answered, then maybe you should. That same night, I put the apartment lease in her name, cancelled her credit card, and left while she slept. A week later, her entire family showed up at my door, pleading with me to take her back. The strange thing about heartbreak is how calm you can feel when it hits. No yelling, no tears, just a cold, sharp clarity that settles in. I'd been with Claire for 3 years, meeting her shortly after graduating college at a friend's housewarming. She was brilliant, beautiful, driven, everything I thought I wanted. After a year, we moved in together. By the second, we were engaged and deep into wedding plans when it all unraveled. Thinking back, I should have noticed the early signs. Claire's parents, Martin and Elaine, were never exactly welcoming. They had that polished, country club kind of demeanor. Old wealth, private school educations, summers spent at lake houses. I came from a modest family in the Midwest, worked my way through a state university with loans and part-time jobs, and was still establishing myself as an architect at a solid but not flashy firm. At dinners, her parents would ask pointed questions about my career goals and whether I'd worked on anything high-profile. Elaine often reminisced about Claire's ex, now a hedge fund manager in Manhattan. Martin would casually mention friends' sons who were doctors or CEOs. I'd always brush it off. Plenty of people have in-law troubles, right? And Claire would squeeze my hand under the table, rolling her eyes when they weren't looking. I honestly thought we were on the same side. The day everything shifted seemed ordinary enough. It was a Thursday in April. I came home after a draining client meeting, keys dropping into the bowl by the door. Claire sat at the kitchen island, eyes fixed on her laptop. "Hey," I greeted, reaching for a beer from the fridge. "How was your day?" She didn't reply right away, unusual for her, since she always had something to say. That silence was my first warning. "I had lunch with my parents," she finally said without looking up. "How are Martin and Elaine?" I asked lightly. "They're worried about us." I froze mid-motion. "Worried how?" "About the wedding. About whether you're really the right match for me." I set the beer down slowly. "And what do you think?" "I think they want what's best for me." "That's not what I asked." She sighed, shutting her laptop. "They brought up things I hadn't thought much about, like how your career doesn't have the same upward potential as someone in finance or medicine, how we'll never live the kind of life I grew up with, and how we come from totally different backgrounds." "We've known that from the beginning," I said, still calm. "It never seemed to bother you before." It didn't. "But when I think about the future, kids someday, I don't know." They made good points. "Like how you're comfortable just staying where you are. You've never talked about making partner or starting your own firm. You're just content being average." I'd never claimed to be exceptional, but I worked hard and loved my craft. I wasn't changing the world, but I was building a solid career. "So what exactly are you saying, Claire?" She fiddled with her engagement ring, the one I'd saved for months to buy, which her mother had once called cute, before finally saying, "My parents don't approve of you. They think I can do better." The words hit like a sudden wave. 3 years together, a year engaged, countless plans and promises, reduced to her parents' opinion. "And what do you think?" I asked quietly. She avoided my gaze. "Maybe they have a point." In a movie, I'd beg her to reconsider, swear to win her family over. But that icy clarity had taken hold. "Then you should," I said plainly. "Should what?" "Find better, if that's what you and your parents believe." She blinked, clearly expecting an argument or tears. "I'm not saying it's over," she protested. "I just have doubts." "Doubts about whether I'm good enough, because your parents think so?" "It's more complicated than that." "Is it?" "Seems simple to me." I walked past her to the bedroom, her confused look following me. I took a long shower, letting the hot water run over me while I pieced together my next steps. By the time I stepped out, I knew exactly what I was going to do. Claire was already in bed, scrolling on her phone like it was any other evening. She glanced at me briefly. "Can we talk about this tomorrow? I'm tired, and I think we should sleep on it." "Sure," I said easily, slipping under the covers beside her. "Tomorrow." Around midnight, when her breathing had gone slow and steady, I got up without a sound, pulled my pre-packed gym bag from the closet, and got to work. First, I logged into the tenant portal for our building. The lease was in my name with Claire listed as an occupant. We'd set it up that way because my credit had been stronger at the time. I submitted a request to have my name removed and full responsibility transferred to her. I knew it would still need her signature and the landlord's approval, but it would make my intentions unmistakable. Our landlord, Mr. Daniels, had always been fair with me, so I was confident he'd help her through the process if she stayed. Then I signed into my bank account. Claire had a credit card on my account as an authorized user, mostly for household purchases. I removed her access and ordered a replacement for myself. I made a list of utilities and subscriptions in my name: power, internet, streaming services. So I could either transfer them or shut them down after giving her proper notice. Then I wrote a short letter telling her I was leaving, that the lease transfer had been started, and that I'd arrange to collect the rest of my belongings later. I added that she had a month to decide whether to take over the apartment or move, and that I'd keep the utilities running during that time so she could change them into her name. I placed the note and my keys on the kitchen counter, then walked out. Earlier that evening, while Claire was in the shower, I'd called my friend Josh to ask if I could crash at his place for a while. He'd said yes without hesitation, the kind of friend who doesn't need details. When I got there at 1 a.m., he opened the door in boxers, looking groggy but concerned. "You all right?" he asked. "Not really," I admitted, "but I will be." We drank beers on his couch while I explained what had happened. Josh didn't try to talk me into going back. "Her loss," he said, clinking his bottle against mine. "Stay as long as you need." By the next morning, my phone was lighting up non-stop: calls, texts, voicemails from Claire, each one more urgent than the last. "Where are you? Call me right now. I can't believe you left like this." Then, the landlord called about a lease transfer. "I can't pay for this place alone. You canceled the card. How am I supposed to buy groceries?" That last one made me shake my head. Despite her wealthy parents, Claire liked to say she was financially independent, which really meant living on her modest publishing salary while they covered her loans, car, and padded her emergency fund. It was a point of pride for her, but now it left her unprepared for genuine self-reliance. I ignored her messages and instead called my boss to take a few personal days. I spent the week apartment hunting and landed a small but decent one-bedroom across town, available the following week. The rent was higher than what I'd paid before, but thanks to recent project bonuses, it was manageable. The next few days, I rebuilt my life piece by piece. I stayed at Josh's, sleeping on his couch, ordering essentials for my new place, and changing my address everywhere. Since I still had legal access to the old apartment until the lease change went through, I booked movers to collect my furniture while I knew Claire would be at work. Josh met them there with my spare key and made sure they only took what we'd agreed on. Claire's messages kept coming, slowly shifting from angry to desperate. "Please, we can fix this." I didn't mean it. I was just stressed. My parents were wrong, I see that now. On the 5th day, I finally replied with one short text: "I'll be picking up the rest of my things next week. Utilities are covered until the end of the month, that should give you time to transfer them if you're staying. Let me know when you won't be home so I can finish moving out." Her answer came instantly: "Please don't do this. I love you." Too little, too late. On the 6th day, I got an unexpected call from Martin, her father. I almost let it go to voicemail, but curiosity won out. "Evan," he said, his usual condescending tone replaced by something close to humble. "We need to talk." "I don't think there's anything to say, Martin. Please. Claire isn't doing well, Martin began. That's unfortunate, I said flatly. But it's not my problem anymore. He exhaled hard. I may have crossed a line. Said things I shouldn't have. You think? Can we meet? Elaine and I would like to speak in person. Against my better judgment, I agreed to coffee the next day, pure curiosity, I told myself. Nothing more. When I arrived, I was surprised to find not just Martin and Elaine, but Claire and her younger brother as well. The whole family gathered around a corner table. What's going on? I asked, still standing. Please, sit, Elaine said. Her perfectly composed face now showed strain. We want to talk. I sat reluctantly, keeping as much distance from Claire as possible. She looked pale and unkempt, her eyes red from crying. Martin cleared his throat. Evan, I owe you an apology. What I said about you to Claire was unfair and short-sighted. You think? I echoed. Yes, he continued. The past week has shown me you were far better for her than we realized. How so? Elaine jumped in. Claire's been a wreck. Not eating, not sleeping. We've never seen her like this. She loves you. I glanced at Claire, who was staring at the table, silent tears sliding down her cheeks. And, Martin added, looking uneasy, Claire wasn't completely honest with us about your career. Her brother did some digging. I'm into architecture, her brother said quickly. When I googled your name, I found your portfolio. You worked on the Westbrook Tower? And you're lead designer on the new Riverside project? That's huge. I shrugged. Work's been going well. Why didn't you tell us? Elaine asked. Because it shouldn't matter, I replied simply. I do this work because I love design, not to impress my fiancé's family. Martin actually looked ashamed. We misjudged you. And it was wrong to fill Claire's head with doubts. You didn't put anything there she didn't accept, I countered. She's an adult. She made her choice. I made the wrong choice, Claire said hoarsely, finally looking up. I was foolish and insecure, and I let them influence me. I've regretted it every second since you left. We're here, Martin said, to ask you to reconsider. Give her another chance. I looked at them, this family that had dismissed me, now scrambling to undo it. Why the sudden change, Martin? Because I might be successful after all? No, he said, glancing away for a moment, because I've never seen her this heartbroken. Whatever you think of me, I do love my daughter. The truth was, I'd never really shared my professional milestones with Claire or her family, not out of secrecy, but because I didn't define myself by them. The Riverside project had been all-consuming for months, and I'd usually been too exhausted to talk about it. Claire seemed more interested in her publishing job anyway, so I'd listened instead of boasting. Please, Claire said, reaching for my hand. I pulled mine back before she could touch me. I was wrong, she said. I love you, not your job, not your income. But when they said I wasn't good enough, you agreed, I said quietly. I was overwhelmed, scared about the wedding. It wasn't about you, it was about me. And now you're afraid of paying rent alone? I asked. She flinched. That's not fair. Isn't it? You only reached out after I moved the lease and canceled your card. The practical stuff just made me realize how much I need you, she argued. How much I depend on you. I don't want to be needed, I said. I want to be chosen. And you chose their approval over me. People make mistakes, Elaine interjected. Surely that deserves forgiveness? I looked at them all and felt nothing. That cold clarity was still there. I wish you the best, I said, standing. Wait, Claire blurted, standing too, drawing glances from nearby tables. I'll do anything, move into your new place, pay my own way. I'll cut ties with my parents if that's what it takes. Her parents looked visibly alarmed at that last offer, which told me everything I needed to know about how genuine their reversal was. It's not about any of that, I said. It's about who you showed me you are, someone who values image and others' opinions over loyalty and love. I believe you now. I walked away, ignoring her voice calling after me. That was 6 months ago. I haven't spoken to Claire since, though she still sends the occasional text. Her parents mailed me an expensive bottle of scotch with an apology note. I used it for Josh's birthday party. The Riverside project opened last month to strong reviews, and my firm made me a junior partner with a nice raise. I bought a small condo in the same building, mine alone. Sometimes I wonder if I was too harsh. But then I remember how quickly she agreed with their judgment of me. Some betrayals cut too deep to repair. The right person won't have to be convinced you're enough, they'll know it, and defend that truth against anyone, even their own family. I'm still searching for that person, but now I know exactly what I want, and what I'll never accept again.